Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing a video for you all about highlighting and contouring. I'm going to be using a high-end product for one side of my face and a drugstore product on the other side of my face, just to show you that you can use drugstore products to highlight and contour, and they almost look exactly the same. So on my face right now, I have one side one side drugstore and one side high-end. Can you tell which one it is? If you'd like to see how I did this, then just keep watching. Alright, so the first side that I'm going to do is I'm going to do the drugstore side. So I'm going to do on my right side of my face, I'm going to do the drugstore side. So I'm going to start off with the concealer, and I'm just going to be using this Maybelline concealer. This is the Maybelline Fit concealer, and this is in the shade Light. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put it on the areas that you want to pull forward. So for most people, it's going to be underneath the eye, and you're going to want to draw it like that. Like a triangle under your eye to make it all look higher, like everything's risen up. And then I'm just gonna fill mine in because I like a lot of concealer. And the lower down you go, it'll make it look more like brought back. So I'm gonna put it on my forehead on this side. On this half of my chin, only because one. And then you're gonna wanna put a line of concealer underneath where you're going to be putting your contour shade. So I'm going to wait to do that part until I put my contour shade in. So my contour shade for the drugstore side, I'm going to be using my Maybelline Fit stick again, and this is a very dark shade, as you can see. So you're going to want to put this contour shade everywhere that you want to be pushed back. So for me, I'm going to want to put it on my forehead because I have like a 7 head. So I'm just going to want to put it over on the sides of my forehead. And the lower you put these lines, the more contoured your forehead's gonna look. I'm gonna put it on my temple, and then I'm gonna put it under my cheekbone. So normally how that is, it goes from like the top of your ear down to the side of your mouth. And then you can like you can feel the bone above it, and that's where you want your contour shade. So mine's gonna go right there, like that. Then I'm also gonna do underneath my jawbone. And I'm gonna go underneath that shade, like that. And I do already have foundation on, and I have my eyebrows on, obviously. So I just have a very light layer of foundation on because we're gonna be putting a ton of other stuff on our face, so you don't want it to get too cakey. So this is the drugstore side. I have my highlight underneath my eye and right there, and down here, and on my chin. Those are all the areas I want to be brought forward. So I want the middle of my chin, so not the upper part to make it look really big, underneath my eye, underneath my jawbone, in the middle of my chin. The other side we're going to be doing is we're going to be using the high-end part, and it's going to be the Anastasia Cream Contour Kit. Alright, so I'm going to be starting off with the highlight shade, and I'm going to go in with this banana shade right here. And I'm going to be doing the exact same thing like I did on this side, except this is a different product. So I'm just going to be putting this underneath. And I do already have a little bit of concealer on underneath this eye because this contour kit is not a concealer, so you need to make sure you do all those steps beforehand. Now this product is going to be a little bit harder to blend out than the other side. So what I like to do is I like to use a little bit of Max Fix Plus, so if you have that, I would definitely use it. Or you can use like some type of oil because it is a little bit harder to blend out than normal cream products like the concealer or things like that. And I am going to be highlighting the bridge of my nose, and since I don't have two sides of my middle of my nose, I'm just going to use the Anastasia kit. I'm just going to go right down the center of my nose. I'm going to be mixing the darkest shade and the middle shade. And I'm just going to be doing the same thing as we did on the other side. So up at the top, take it in a little bit. Once again, top of the ear, the lips. As you can see, this side is a lot more warm toned than this side is, so it's going to be interesting to see how different it actually comes out. I don't think it's going to be too bad, but I'm not really going anywhere, so it doesn't really matter. And then chin. I'm going to try to do my nose with this big brush. I don't know how it's going to work though. And I like to connect my nose all the way up to my eyebrow. That's how it's gonna look natural. Or at the most natural. Yeah, this side's not working. Well, I definitely need to get a different brush. But for now, this is just gonna have to work.
Slim the nose down. Slim it down.
Just go underneath this like I did with the other side. You can do the side of your chin, and then you want to do underneath your lip, because this will make your lip look poutier, which everybody loves. And then I'm just going to fix it with this stick on the other side. What I like to do is give my face a quick spray of Max Fix Plus, just so everything blends out a little smoother. So the first thing that I normally like to do is to blend out my highlight shade, so that's what I'm going to do first. So I'm going to start out with under my eyes. And then I'm going to move to the forehead. So since I do have two separate sides going on of different products, I'm trying to do one side of each for the Beauty Blender so that they're not all getting contaminated and not really showing us the real result. So
just in case you're wondering.
Alright, and then for the contour part, I usually use a Beauty Blender, but I also sometimes use a brush. This brush is the Sigma Flat Angled Kabuki F88 brush. I really like this brush to blend out my contour because it has a nice angle on it, so I can get a nice line, so that's what I'm going to be using today. I'm going to go do this side first. This side is the Drugstore side. So make sure that when you're blending your contour, you make sure that you're blending it upwards. You do not want to bring it downwards. It's going to make it look muddy and completely defeat the purpose of a contour. So I like to push up. And make sure you get it into your hairline as well. Time to slim down my 12 head. And then if you're not happy with the edges afterwards, you can always go back with your Beauty Blender and make sure it's all blended out. And then there's no harsh lines. So you can see that this side is all done being blended out. It looks really seamless. This is the Drugstore side, so this is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer and the Maybelline Fit Me Stick. And now I'm just gonna go right on to the Anastasia Contour Kit side. So the Anastasia Contour Kit side is a little bit harder to blend out, I have noticed. So if you're having trouble blending it out, you can just spray a little bit more Max Fix Plus. So there are definitely different types of colors happening because this side is a lot more warm toned than the other side is, but I'll survive. Now I'm just going to go back in with a dampened Beauty Blender just to make sure that all of the lines are blended. You're going to want to make sure you set it just to make sure that everything doesn't move throughout the day. So for the Drugstore side, I'm going to be using my Rimmel Stay Matte Pressed Powder in the color Creamy Natural. And I'm going to be putting this powder everywhere that I put the concealer. So underneath my eyes.
Underneath here. Chin. Forehead.
Everywhere you put your concealer, you're going to want to put the powder. For the contour shade, I am going to be using my NYX Smooth Skin Bronzing Face Powder in the color Sunny. So it just looks like that. So up here. Now I realize this isn't the best contouring powder that I could be using, but this was the only drugstore alternative that I had. So we're gonna put that under here, everywhere we put that contour shade. So for the high-end side, I'm going to be sticking with the Anastasia Beverly Hills theme, and I'm going to be using my Anastasia contour kit, and I'm going to be using the banana shade for everywhere I put the banana shade of the cream. And I'm also going to use this powder for the center of my nose. Alright, and then for the contour shade, I'm going to be using the middle shade in my Anastasia contour kit, Fawn. So I'm just going to go back in with that bronzer really quick. Other side a little bit more. Alright, so this is everything that I would do to contour. So you can see that I did use two different types of products. I used drugstore and high-end, and you can see that both sides actually look pretty good. So this is the drugstore side, and then this is the Anastasia high-end side. Alright, so we're done with the contouring and highlighting, and as you can see, both sides do look really good. One side was drugstore. One side was drugstore and the other side was high-end, so you can see that you can achieve the same look by just using drugstore products. The Anastasia kit did give more opaque colors. They do pop out more, they're more vibrant than the other side did. This side just looks a little bit more natural, but you could always just fix that by maybe putting on more product. I guess I could have tried to test it if I could have put more product on. But this side, the highlight shade, the banana shade, does come off a lot more highlighty than the concealer did. So the concealer on the Maybelline side isn't as opaque. It's not meant to highlight and contour as the Anastasia kit was. So the Anastasia kit does have way more color payoff than the other side does. Looking straight forward, I feel like you can't really tell which side is the drugstore and which side is the high-end. Can you? So this is the drugstore side and this is the high-end side. So as you can see, you can get the same results using drugstore or using high-end products. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see more videos, don't forget to subscribe. See you later.